I'm sitting on the grounds of the Sullivan Retreat Center, which is outside the University of Oklahoma. The Baptist Student Union of OU owns this center, and the Burleson family comes here every Thanksgiving and Christmas to celebrate the holidays. I want to tell you what happened last Thanksgiving, 2007. We were sitting around tables, in chairs, one evening, and we began to talk. And a young lady who is my niece, her name is Dara Austin, she told us her story. Now, I've known Dara for 20 years, but when she opened up her soul and she shared with us what God meant to her and how He was the primary passion of her life, a dramatic transformation occurred within me. I listened to this young lady and I realized that what I needed, what our church needed, was an understanding that life is not about making things work out. Life is not about avoiding pain. Life is about knowing and enjoying God. Let me introduce to you Dara. Let me tell you her story as a challenge to each of us, not to hide in the shadows, not to be afraid, to tell others what God has done and is doing in our lives. Dara was born March the 4th, 1988 at the Hillcrest Baptist Hospital in Waco, Texas. At the time, the doctor said she suffered from the worst case of spina bifida they'd ever seen. In addition, she had hydrocephalus, or water on the brain, and a club foot. The doctors told Dara's mother that it would be best if she died, simply because they believed she had the brain the size of a pea. But her family prayed and asked the Lord for His mercy and grace, and over the course of the next several weeks, Dara's brain began to unfold. Over the course of the next several years, Dara went through 7 major surgeries. Some were very difficult and painful, others delicate. Nevertheless, over time, Dara began to improve, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually. She attended school and did quite well, both academically and in her community service, receiving several community awards and school awards from her teachers. While a young teenager, Dara's father was convicted of sexually abusing her and sentenced to many years in prison in the state of Texas. But despite all these setbacks, the Lord had a purpose for Dara. On July the 5th, 2005, Dara was baptized at the Emmaus Baptist Church in Norman, Oklahoma. Through all these things, Dara has been a testimony that a person can go through life regardless of his or her circumstances and find contentment and satisfaction in a relationship with Jesus Christ. It's been incredible what God has done in your life. I want to ask you this question. When times get tough, when things don't go smoothly for you, what keeps you going?
When I find something that I love to do, like being with kids or being with people who love being with me, it inspires me to keep going. We have a nephew, a great nephew and a nephew that is looking up to me, and I want to show him the right way to live. I also want to show not just him, but the people that are around me. I want to be able to say that I've impacted their life that I have impacted their life in some way.
There's a lot of folks in my church who have struggled for various reasons, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And they're hurting. And if there's anybody that I know who understands hurt, it's you. What would you say to somebody who's hurting out there right now? How could you help them? What would you say to them?
Wade, that's a good question. I don't think I could say anything that would really make any difference because it's not me. It's Jesus Christ.
Okay.
It's a higher authority. No matter if you know He's there, no matter if you believe He's there, He's there.
And He's been there for you, hasn't He?
Yes, He has.
You know, Dara, you're about to go over to the children's home across the street, volunteer, help some of the kids. And I know you said to me before, your desire is for the people you minister to know Jesus Christ. The whole theme of Soul Talk is that whatever's going on in your life, whatever struggles you're facing, life is more about knowing Jesus than it is working things out to avoid pain. You shared with me before that there are days that are dark for you, that sometimes you question the reason for your existence. But during those days, what helps you understand that God does have a purpose for you?
In some ways, God actually reminds me in so many ways why I'm on this earth. He puts the people that He's put in my life back in my life. He's taken them away. He's done everything possibly imaginable to make me realize that He's the one who controls my life.
Well, Dara, on behalf of Emmanuel Baptist Church, I want to say thank you, because Jesus Christ has used you, and the fact that you opened up at Thanksgiving to my family and to me, to compel me to encourage our church to know that the primary passion of our lives is to know Jesus Christ and to enjoy Him. Dara, you've taught this pastor through your soul talking to me what it means to know Christ above all else, to have Him as the primary passion of my life. And on behalf of my church and me, your uncle, I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sitting in the actual room where Dara last Thanksgiving told us her story. As family members sat around, many of us teared up. Many of us were transformed that night because of the vulnerability of one young lady who took the risk to tell us a little bit about what was going on inside of her. This empty chair represents what I desire for our church. I'd like for you to fill it. I'd like for you to take up the challenge of being a soul talker. Not just listening to somebody else's story as I listened to Dara's and was transformed by it, but also being vulnerable enough to tell yours. You see, the butterfly effect of one soul talking is enormous. Remember, think beneath, think passion, think vision, think story, and think movement. When people begin to talk in terms of the soul, the Spirit of God begins to transform us all. I hope this series has been beneficial to you. I know it has to me. May our church continue to be a church of soul talkers.